Spoil for Choice, and of course, we're being joined on the program by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Sam Kargbo, who will be helping us out with some of the headlines we're dealing with. Leonard Silk, welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning.
I'll need you to do some yeoman's job this morning. Twin Leadership newspaper is where we would like to start from. Two things I would like you to speak to, Leonard Silk. NEC stalemate over PDP national scribe. I could clearly see yesterday that Samayamu was not, at least from the videos I saw, I didn't see Samayamu in that NEC meeting. Also, second anniversary knocks. Kudos for Tinubu on security. Concerns over 7 attacks on military formations in 5 months. Fight against insurgency yielding results, according to some stakeholders. Several terrorists eliminated, arms recovered. Go ahead, sir.
Well, let me start with the PDP. The PDP is a problem child. I think if you ask me, I would say that their problem will stay with them for a while, because I had always said this. For now, the trunk and root of PDP is Wike. And Wike, his branches are in APC. It becomes very, very difficult for them to solve the problem they are having now. Because the Wike faction, as of today, is stronger than the rest of the party. And call him a spoiler, call him the obstructionist, whatever you say, as at today, Wike is PDP, and until he decides otherwise, the PDP will be having their own problem. On the issue of the security, of course, we've been having this problem since about 2011 up to today. The variations are slightly, what I'm trying to say, yeah, we've been having some time when we have some respites. For an example, we've had respites concerning banditry in the Northwest for a while now. But the Northeast is reoccurring. The Boko Haram, ISWAP is also there. And one would have thought that with the experience we've had and the time we've had with these security challenges, we would have by now actually had some sort of a leverage over this security problem. But I think the military and perhaps the stakeholders themselves are finding it difficult to have a lasting solution. And it's going to be difficult for us to have a lasting solution over the security challenges, because, hey, the entire Sahel here, or what you would call the entire West African region here, especially with our neighbors, Niger, Chad, and Mali, for an example, with their own security challenges also filtering into Nigeria, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to actually have a lasting solution over that. Perhaps what I would only say is to encourage the military to do more. They've been doing a fantastic job. It's a difficult one. And they've been giving them the resources, though I do not think that the resources are enough. I do not think that they have enough arms and ammunition to actually challenge and push back the insurgents and the other bandits that are ravaging the Northwest and the Northeast. But if you ask me, we could one day, someday, find a solution to this, because we need that. Without us taming this security issue or this security devil, the other areas that would suffer is famine. Many of the northern areas are now deserted. Farms are now desolate because farmers can't go to the farm because of the security challenges. So I would expect that for President Tinubu, he should, in the next year to come, pay much more attention to the security challenges, because he needs to actually succeed in that area for it to reflect in the other areas, especially agriculture.
Well, Senior Advocate, next up is Nigerian News Direct. Nigerian News Direct leads with the outcome of the PDP's NEC meeting, or at least part of the things discussed there. And you see, Tinubu, APC, desperate to annihilate opposition parties. That's coming from the PDP NEC. Says APC driven by fear of 2027 election defeat. As Sule Lamido vows to boycott PDP meetings until Wike or Tom are expelled. What do you make of this, Senior Advocate?
I'm not impressed by the blame game. PDP must put its act together. It is not the business of APC to see, or what would I call it now, see or promote the PDP. It is in the interest of the APC to, if I would use some of the words they used there, to annihilate PDP, because party are contesting for one thing, the resources of the state. That's what they are doing. And if one party is doing so much to actually put you out of contest and you are complaining, what would you want the people to do? Because the opposition is actually to be an alternative government. It is supposed to even be much more serious, much more organized, and much more proactive than the party in politics, because the party in politics already has its day and sometimes could be carried away with the spoils of the day. But what have we had here? The opposition is in disarray. They don't put their acts together. How could PDP, that had actually ruled this country for so long, now reduce itself to a situation where one man is holding them to ransom and they cannot do anything about it? And I can bet you it's not so soon that they can do anything about it. Many of them have even thrown in the towel. That's why you see them looking for coalition, going to SDP and all of that. I would want, because I had written that without a strong opposition, you do not have a democracy. Without a very effective and up and doing opposition, believe me, you will not have democracy, because the opposition is there to checkmate the ruling party and the government of the day. But where you have PDP as it is, which is today the leading opposition party, in sort of disarray and in an abysmal situation, believe me, APC would have its day. But if you ask me, also as an advice for APC, it is not in the interest of Nigeria for us to go the route of a one-party state. And of course, it will not succeed. And I would also hope that as many of them that are defecting to APC are defecting with the good intention. Because if they are not going there for the good intention, they are going there to protect their mandates for 2027, and they lose out in the internal struggle, there may also be an implosion within the APC. So APC should not go to sleep believing that, oh, they are having it all. I think their work is cut out for them, because now they have to manage what? Both the old loyal members and those who are coming there as refugees.
All right. Okay, let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. It leads with the latest Tinubu writes NAS, $621 billion, $21.5 billion external loans, 558 billion naira pension bond. So this has generated a lot of talk on the streets, given the fact that the government has always said that its macroeconomic indicators are looking good, especially when it comes to external reserve, stabilization of the FX market, although it's high, and all of the things, debt to revenue. But now we're seeing this new borrowing. I was saying that our total budget is about 55 billion states and federal government. Federal government is about 36 billion, states about 18, but this is 21 billion to borrow, whether it's in form of pension. What do you make of this?
Well, let me start with my worry about the regulators. The Debt Management Office, the Central Bank, and the Ministry of Finance. they are supposed to actually manage the borrowing of the government. But it seems as if all that we've been concerned with is the tail end of it when the president takes his own letter to get the authorization of the National Assembly. But to me, the nitty-gritty, they said the devil is in the detail. The nitty-gritty of all of this debt has to be with the debt management office. It is its own duty to actually educate us as to why this borrowing should continue, because that is his job. Since about 2000, when it was created specifically to ensure that we do not have a debt crisis. But what have been having? We have day in, day out, governments funding their own budgets with borrowing. We cannot continue like that because you are borrowing money. You got to pay with interest. And you're going to pay also with what? Foreign currency. So much so that the money that you will need tomorrow, you already spend it today. And my fear is, what if that money is not put into a very useful purpose, or is not expended for projects that they've stated on the face of their own papers? Who do we hold? The Debt Management Office, the Central Bank. The Central Bank recently is urging for a balance between what the monetary policy which they handle and the fiscal policy which the government handles. And yet, it is also their own duty to make inputs in some of these borrowings. But they do not do that. When you bring this thing to the National Assembly, how many of them have the expertise and the wherewithal to actually take a very critical look into these loans and make any useful suggestions? So most of the time, what they just do back-end politicking and negotiations, and they give their own authorization and their own consent without actually looking into the details of it to see what are the hidden problems that we may have tomorrow in respect of the payment of debts. Because you have to pay. Debt servicing in itself has always been what? Much more of a problem than the debt itself, because you would have to pay the interest. And sometimes some of these loans, they come with very high interest. So yeah, the world over, governments borrow to finance their own budgets, but it shouldn't be a kind of a daily affair as we are having here. So I'm hoping that, yeah, the Debt Management Office in particular would have done its own oversight function over these transactions, because if not, we'll still be having what we are having. Why are we where we are? So much so that most of the time you have over 50% of the budget going to debt servicing. If indeed over time these regulatory bodies have been very effective and functional and responsive to their own duties.
Senior Advocate Umar, thank you so much. I just remember that I think deficit is in the range of about 13 or so trillion naira. So adding this to it, so maybe pushing, we're getting there to almost 200 trillion, maybe about 140, 180. I'm not sure the number now, but the numbers are piling up and it's of great concern. Umar, thank you so much for coming on the program. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Sam Kargbo, thank you for always bringing your expertise in. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity. God bless you all.
All right, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get to all the conversation. We'll talk about politics, we'll talk about these issues of debt and children's rights and protection. Join us again.